Right, I'd like to reiterate what Andy said and thank everyone for turning up today to Turning Point. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sean Hannam, so I'm the editor of ERT, and for today I'm going to be chairing our session today. I've worked out that I'm going to be on stage for roughly just under 5 hours, which means I'm actually going to give Bruce Springsteen a run for his money today. Also today I've been told to point out that February the 2nd is actually Groundhog Day as well. So I said February the 2nd is Groundhog Day, and for those of you who do know what Groundhog Day is, then I don't want to. You've been to a lot of conferences. We don't want to just repeat things that we hear at every conference. So we've been to a lot of conferences, and we know the internet exists. You know, let's get on and deal with it. Right, today I want it to be a really positive session as well. The first one we've got today is titled, the seminar is called "How Do We Get Here?" So I'm asking everyone. I came on the train. They make you guys as well, probably. So we've actually got a panel of leading electrical retailers here today, who are going to candidly discuss the current health of the market, a little bit of what we've seen from Paul's great presentation. I'm regretting wearing a wool suit. I think if I do have a Fitbit on, it will probably tell me I'm overheating. And we're looking at what barriers are stopping many retailers developing and adapting to market forces. I'm now going to introduce the panel and ask them to tell us and me a little bit about their business. So I left Steve Scogings. So Steve, you're the Managing Director of Stellisons. Yep. Can you tell us a little bit about your business in a nutshell very quickly, for those of you who don't know what you guys do?
We're electrical retailers in Essex, Suffolk and Kent. We've got 9 stores selling electrical, kitchens and brown and white goods. We specialise in premium brands. We've been going since 1962. My father started the company, and now me and my eldest brother run it, along with our service engineering network and our commercial side. Great,
thanks Steve. Paul Giles, you're the Managing Director of Gerald Giles and Snellings. Tell us a little bit about your 2 businesses that you've got.
Yeah, we've got 2 retail stores in Norfolk and Norwich particularly. We've been in business since 1948. I've only done 32 years of that, but we retail brown and white goods, and we do a lot of servicing and rental as well.
Okay, and finally we've got Jason Digwa. Jason, you're Director of RGB, so tell us a little bit about RGB.
We've been trading for 26 years in Essex. We employ over 30 staff. Along with the 2 stores in Essex, we have a kitchen showroom business, specialising predominantly in mid-range and top-end products. I've got 4 children. They certainly keep me busy. I have been in the electrical trade for over 26 years. Started from 10 years old. Pretty much got the bug from a young age.
Cool, great, brilliant. Okay, so the situation we've got here, we were looking at how do we get here. So you've seen the numbers from Paul from GFK and where we are with that. I was going to sort of ask you personally, each really, what's your kind of take on? We've seen the stats and the figures. What's your current take on the state of electrical retail in the UK? Maybe start with you, Paul. Where do you see it?
Yeah, I think it very much depends on the retailer, but we've invested a lot of money in our business in the last 5 years, particularly. And we've experienced quite a good year. We've had 5 years of growth, but we are reinvesting in our business. I can appreciate a lot of the doom and gloom figures that are there, but I think if you pick the right retailers out of it, there's a lot of retailers, independent retailers, doing very well. They want to work with the manufacturers, they want to partnership with the manufacturers, and come up with innovative ideas to stimulate more growth in the showrooms with different displays. We're also having to do online as well as retailing in the stores, so there's a lot of investment going on. And I think if you invest in your business, the manufacturers respect that, and the figures aren't all doom and gloom.
Jason, from your point of view, what's your kind of take on the market? You've got a store in Ilford and Essex, and you've also got a big online business as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, retailing at the moment is certainly challenging. I'm speaking to many retailers up and down the country. If we look back at the last few months, I think Black Friday and the Christmas period were buoyant. Our sales were up from the previous year. I think, as Paul said, it's very much about an individual retailer investing in his own stores, looking at ways of engaging customers when they come in looking for the right experience. I think unfortunately with Brexit, it has caused price increases across brown and white goods, we're starting to see that effect now. With new product launches though, hopefully that should buck the trend and we go into the season. But I think it's very much down to the individual dealer taking that lead and trying to create that point of difference.
Steve, what's your kind of take on it from your business? Well, you've got a lot more stores than these other guys as well. So.
It's hard, a lot harder than it ever was. There's not as much fun as it used to be to some extent.
I don't believe that. Yeah.
I try. It is tough out there. The margins are hurting us, and with everything coming, the costs are only being added to our bricks and mortar stores. We're now starting to look at the online channel, and I think some manufacturers, maybe 10 years ago, tried to steer the independent channel away from the online trade because they didn't want to see a bun fight on price, I think, more than anything. And to some extent, I think that's held us back in the marketplace, and I think we're playing catch up. One thing we've all got is stores that I think have got great staff in them that do a good job for the manufacturers, but we're not promoted enough either online on manufacturers' websites to get people back into the independent channel where we can give a service level that no one else does. And that's where we are good and where my staff are trained well by manufacturers, which is one of the good points they do. But I think we do need to work better as a partnership. I think we are seen as the least needed channel in most cases, and I think now with the connected home it's a time where we can switch that round again, because online players only can't do what we can do there, nor can the big players get involved as much as they want to be. I know they want that market, but it's too diverse for them to be able to move someone quickly and fast to get a job done fast. So yeah, there's positives, but there are negatives.
Reinvesting seems to be one of the things that, I mean, there are some of the guys that sent me in some bullet points before, and so reinvesting, some obviously independents, Andy highlighted that in his speech, not reinvesting in their businesses, not changing with the times. If you want to invest, and you guys are all proactive retailers, you've invested in your business, you've changed your businesses, what else do you want to do? What barriers are preventing that, I guess, and what support do you need from manufacturers? It's easy to criticise manufacturers, we don't get enough support, but what would you like to see them do to help you grow and invest in your businesses?
I think it's a partnership, really. We don't want to come here and slate manufacturers because they do an awful lot for us. I think we just need to reevaluate that model and see what there is that we can do clever in store, but we all need online. People are going online. We don't want them going to someone else's store before they then come in ours. If they do the research on our online store, they're far more likely to shop with ourselves. So I think there's issues with data. Getting the data from the suppliers in an easy form to put into we haven't got hundreds of people running our websites, we haven't got all the tech, we need help there to try and make our websites proactive, look good. That needs to be done, and also partnering on clever retailing ideas. But if people come in a store these days, they want an experience. They don't just want to walk in and see a row of TVs or a row of washing machines. It's all about exciting the customer to buy things. And we can do that with a store. All online is going to be, at the end of the day, the same. You can make a good online shop, but it's never going to be like an experience in store. And we're the only ones that can sell that top-end product, mid to top-end product in store successfully.
Yeah, Steve?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the manufacturers do need to give us a bit more help with our website developments. It's an expensive job. I look at it now, we're going online more and more now, and it is my 10th store. I've got 9 retail sites. This one will have as much spent on it as any of my retail sites. We've already, in the last 3 years, spent a lot of money updating all of our bricks and mortar stores to be better, so that when I want to get people online and I send them into the shop, they're going to get an experience now that the manufacturers want us to give, which I think we've done quite a good job working with all the manufacturers I deal with in getting that right. But also the website needs to be very modern and good looking, and also giving the sort of content that's needed that the bigger players online have had for some time.
You're quite a big player online. I mean, you've been very proactive with online. What's your scene? You got your website to the stage where you needed to be, or where do you want it to go? What would help you to develop your online side of the business?
Well, we used to be very big online, Sean, but over the last sort of 3 to 4 years, that platform's become very competitive. So in terms of our business, what we've done is we've focused more of using that internet to steer people through that and come in. We have a different element where we focus very much on our retail business, and we have a commercial side to our business as well. I think, I totally agree with the guys. I mean, it's about, I think manufacturers are looking for independence now to have that retail theatre, have that experience for people to come in, see products. And if you look at products now, I mean, most products, if you look at large screen TVs, they're £3,000, £4,000, £5,000. They're not cheap products, bar a mortgage and a car. It's probably the most expensive purchase a consumer's going to make. So a customer's got to feel that vibe when he comes in, and have confident staff that know how to demonstrate the product all round, both brand and white goods.
We talked about the competition. I mean, Paul highlighted, the monopoly, I guess, that some of the large retailers have on especially on consumer electronics. But well, how do you guys compete with the likes of with AO, with John Lewis, with Dixon's Carphone, and these big players? Often someone like AO, amazing logistics company, which is what they started out as. It really wasn't a logistics company. So maybe how do you see those forces kind of working against you, and what would you like to see change? So, or how can you change to adapt to those kind of dynamics? I guess.
I think if you look at one of the points, I think everybody in this room faces is the stiff competition from the nationals, the likes of Currys, John Lewis, and AO. Brand goods, particularly, I would say, have seemed to have cleaned up their act, where you don't have they've got selective agreements, or you've got certain products that aren't in the likes of Amazon and AO. I would say on white goods that some manufacturers need to look at their platform and the way they go to market, because you've still got many top-end products that are in AO and are in the wrong internet-only companies. We all invest heavily into our stores, and we should be rewarded for that. I think the other point, Sean, it's very frustrating when you see a product on these websites and that your buying price is actually higher than you can buy it for. I think it's fundamentally wrong. You should be able to buy a product from the likes of AO that you can't buy. You should be buying cheaper directly from the supplier.
Steve, bringing you in, because you're obviously a big Euronics dealer as well, so is that an issue you face? Being in a buying group, does that obviously gives you the edge over some of the other retailers, but is there still issues on that in the buying group with certain products not being available, or certain products being in other markets? Is that better selling protected brands like the likes of Blomberg? How does that work for you?
Well, Blomberg's a fantastic brand. For us, you make full margin on it at all times. You can confidently, any member of my staff can quote a price to a customer on a Blomberg product, and they know without doubt they'll never be beaten. So you can be quite aggressive to a customer and say, look, you can go anywhere, you can go online, waste your time if you want, but you will not find it cheaper, buy it off me today. And that's quite a good thing from a salesman's point of view, because he'll tend to steer himself towards those sort of products that he knows he's going to guarantee a good margin on. There's other things with the buying groups, you've got to be in one of them. Either one, both have their benefits, and I'm sure I'd always say, obviously, Euronics is a better one than anyone else's, because that's what I'm in. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Other buying groups are available.
But other buying groups are available. And I think as an independent channel, we have no choice but to be now trying to group together to have a bigger voice in the industry. Because there's no point me trying to do it on my own, because even with 9 stores, I'm still only a small fish in a large pond. We do need to work together. Both of the buying groups maybe should talk more and actually try and move this market forward. And I think today's conference is a good starting point.
It's a turning point as well. Yeah, definitely. Well, bring you talk about the competition. You actually have a John Lewis opposite your store in Norwich, don't you? Your John store. I've been there. And
we can't afford to be any different price. We have to follow them, otherwise we won't sell anything. Yeah. But they, it was said in the presentation at the top of the show that customers want it all. They want the John Lewis price, then they want to walk over to us and they get a free install and a free, everything else with it as well. We can't afford to give that now, and it's educating our consumer that we're not making any margin out of the product like we were in 20 years ago. Those services have got to be added on. We get the benefit of doing that for the manufacturers. They get less service calls themselves because we've installed it properly. All those sort of things sometimes get forgotten about. Going back to something else which was mentioned earlier is white goods, brown goods. We're still making reasonable margins out of white goods, not all that we always like to, but not too bad. But the brown goods margin is shrinking so much that you'll find a lot of retailers like us sitting here are going to seriously look at our retail exposure in the shops and go, well, do I really want to put that space and make single-digit margin out of it? I might as well put something in it that's going to make a margin. So, the brown goods side of the industry is being challenged by the fact that there is low margin and it's going to get displayed less and less, because retailers are going to move where the money is.
Later on this afternoon, we're going to hear about some of the opportunities for retailers. But while we're here, Paul seems right to comment on some things that Paul talked about. So we looked at some of the opportunities. So maybe not obviously white goods. You guys are all really well established in white goods, but some of the brown goods, these growth markets that we'd be writing about in ERT. We hear about turntables or GoPro action cameras. These aren't maybe turntables with hi-fi retailers, but some of them are kind of niche markets. We hear things about voice control technology being the next big thing, smart audio. The Amazon Echo effect is huge at the moment, but that independents aren't going to be able to get their hands on Amazon products. But where do you see, I guess, the next opportunities, or what would you like to see develop in the industry so you guys can develop new revenue streams in your individual businesses? Maybe start with you, Jason.
I think there's certainly a few areas of growth. I think as Paul's slide showed. Certainly large screen this year, and in the last couple of years there's been an explosion on large screen, albeit it does take space in your stores. But the margin generally dictates the product. So certainly if you can put more large screen out, if you don't have large screen on display, it's certainly worthwhile. I think the smart home revolution is something all retailers need to get on board with. I mean, I went out to CES this year, and you see what's out there in a bigger flavour of what's coming. It's a great way of margin orientated products. You can engage with customers, but what's key there is having those abilities to do that in terms of the installation side, in terms of your staff knowing how to install Wi-Fi in homes. I think the forthcoming seminar in conjunction with Tech UK, Retro and AWEs is a great way of retailers engaging in that. But that's where I see a lot of growth coming.
Paul?
Yeah, I think the challenge for us is to turn the smart tech stuff into an install product, because there's a lot of it is still reasonably low margin and it's self-install. There's two markets to this. A lot of people say they're doing smart install, but basically they're doing a bit of Sonos and a bit of Bose and not a lot else. I mean, there's a market out there maybe in London, Manchester, where you can do whole house installs at 30, 40, 50 grand. But a lot of the smart tech is about someone spending £2,000, £3,000, £4,000 on a TV, smart TV and a few devices. We need to use that and grow that area where we install that and get more of our revenue from that.
Steve?
Yeah, well, we have install crews on the white goods. We're now training to do the brown goods installing and the connected home more, because even white goods we're seeing more and more of it becoming connected now. And with our kitchen fitters, we're getting them to start actually looking at doing some of the stuff while we're doing kitchens as well, because at that point people are ripping their walls out and they want to do things, and we never really got involved in it in the past, but we're now seeing we can do a one-stop shop for everything: appliances, brown goods, white goods, and also the kitchen furniture. So we're trying to merge all of those markets together and use a bit of our building side from the kitchen side to help out on the brown goods, and it's definitely helping us grow business in a sector that I thought really brown goods. I've got 9 stores, of which I'll probably only have 4 that will be selling brown goods next year. So that's another 2 that I've taken out, purely because there's just no volume in it to warrant the cost of the displays.
So even on
and that's sad, because we love doing it, but then the staff love having it. Not just to watch telly all day, but it does help bring people into the store. But at the end of the day, I've got to look at the cost revenue on it, and I can make more selling built-in, which is a growing market for us all the time, than I can do selling a telly. And that's wrong. There's more in a telly than there is in an oven half the time, but you're just making nowhere near the money on it.
We sort of heard about some of the other sort of forces slightly out of our control. So manufacturers, we've talked about more investment on things like websites and great investment in training, working together. How do you deal with the kind of outside forces that aren't electrical driven? So rates, rents, the red tape, if you like, running retail. We heard about Andy highlighted it in his speech earlier, and Paul did as well on the kind of inverted commas, the death of the high street, and we've had a big report on that recently. Well, how do you deal with those things that on top of all the other issues in being electrical retailers in the independent sector? Jason,
I think it's a big problem, Sean. I mean, rents and rates for retailers that are in prominent high street positions, and most of them have closed. If you look in the last few years, there's been a rapid decline of retailers closing. For those who are fortunate to have freehold properties, whilst there's still a cost involved, but the cost base is a lot less. I'm just sort of reading it in I think it was the Retro magazine recently. I mean, business rates are under review. They look like they're going to increase imminently. So there's a lot of pressure now on operating costs. And for those retailers, as I said, who particularly are nearer London, I mean, our costs are expanding all the time.
And you're in the city centre space as well as
stores. I mean, we're in all freehold properties, so it doesn't affect us as much. But we're not looking at selling them and sticking it in a pension fund or anything like that. We are, we're serious about retailing. All the costs are going up of being in the high street. Norwich rates are going up. It's an expensive place to be, and I don't think maybe everyone always appreciates that. And not only that, the staff. We're not looking to pay staff peanuts. If you want, we've got to have decent staff in our stores. If you come into a retail store, you're bothered not to buy online, you're going to expect the best possible advice, and that means we've got to reward our staff too, which is another expensive part of our business. I mean, I do appreciate we get some very, very good product training from manufacturers. I think maybe more could be done looking at retail training, as in selling training. Why shouldn't I buy off the internet? Have all our staff got the ammunition other than just product knowledge to defend these things and make them buy in store and pay a little bit more for that?
So you've got last store, you got Ipswich store you opened a few years ago. That's a huge store, isn't it? And you've got a good mix of stores, but you've got a large, out of town.
Yeah.
You're out of town, and most of your stores aren't they?
We've got City Centre obviously with Chelmsford. We've got 2 out of town stores in Canterbury and in Ipswich, and then most of the others are in small market towns. But every one of them, the rates are going up. None of them are going down. All my staff with minimum wages, although our sales staff earn more than that, all my transport costs are going up because they're all getting big wage rises with the new pension regulations that have come in. These are all add-on costs that we're seeing with a reducing margin in the stores. So something's got to give. At the end of the day, I could rent Ipswich for more than it makes me at the moment, easily. And that's not good for the industry. I could probably rent nearly every store, walk away from it, lay 106 people off and make more money than I do yearly selling a product. But it's fun to me, not to everyone, but I still enjoy the industry.
Yeah.
I want to be in it. And we've invested a lot of money. The last 3 years we've purposely made losses in the business to actually spend fortunes on getting the buildings right. We've just refitted Canterbury after taking it over, which cost us a lot of money. And the manufacturers, to be fair to them, all stood up and said, yeah, we want to help. So that's a good thing. But they don't see that the costs are getting higher and higher and higher for me to have these good looking stores, which shows the product off for them people to buy online. I want them to stay in the store and be given the terms package that makes them want to buy off me because I can make the money to do it.
This is the age-old thing, isn't it? Do you guys feel sometimes that you are simply ending up as becoming showrooms for manufacturers that people are then aren't buying from you, they're buying from?
I think we are, and I think that needs to change a little bit. I think maybe it comes to display allowances that we get from manufacturers may have to change. It may not be a fact that you get a certain percentage off a product just to put it on the shop floor. It might be you've got to pay me an amount for a section in my showroom. That then gets you that prime time. I'm going to do the job right, or you wouldn't pay me it. Rather than paying for display products, you pay for a space. You then come in and see what you want to put in there, and then we train against that. That might have to change. There's loads of different things that might need to be thought of completely differently to what they are now to make us want to do it again.
I'm going to be talking later on in some sessions about some of the opportunities. We're going to be talking about the smart home, things like that. But looking at really just on your day-to-day business, maybe give us a snapshot of where you see the kind of you guys or the market going in maybe the next 5 years. So maybe Jason, what do you see? You said you don't do as much online as you used to now. What's the kind of future for your business, and what would you like to see change to help you do that?
I think the next 5 years will certainly be challenging. It won't be easy by any way. I think we've got to look at the areas that are earning us certainly more margin. I mean, we talked about the smart home concept, where we need to get on board with that and make sure our staff and store is ready for that. So that's certainly an angle that we would be focusing on more heavily. For us, as I said, our business is quite diverse now, where we do certainly do a lot more business on the commercial side, and that's something that we progress, so schools, councils and nursery homes and that type of thing. So I think we've got to look at, I think all retailers need to have other things in their armoury rather than just depending on customers walking through the door, because that will be extremely difficult just to survive on that business.
But where do you see it again? You've got two different businesses. One's out of town, out of town, in the countryside, isn't it?
Middle of a field,
Will the museum shut? Please don't shut the museum. We've also got a museum of old technology. It's fascinating. If anyone is in the area, it's really worth. Blowfield Heath, isn't it? It's really worth going to see. It's great. I spent about 3 hours looking at Robert's radios from 1950 there. So where do you?
It's still in stock.
What's the warranty like on those? Looking forward, where do you see go? You've got two very different businesses, both within sort of similar areas.
We are shifting more to appliances. We can get more value out of appliances with all the install services like Steve. We're installing built-in. We're doing more complicated stuff for customers. We're diversifying that business. We're moving more into service. We're moving more into things that we can make a margin out of, and we will have to continue to do that as the costs rise over the next 5 years. But I think also we're all sitting here very wary that the independents as a group need to stay viable. Otherwise, we're not going to keep the manufacturers' interest. We want independents to thrive, and we're not all against one another. We want to engage with the manufacturers and make us stay viable as a group so that they can invest in us. And I think that's where the dialogue needs to be as to how can we achieve that. They say they need us to demonstrate and show the product, but somehow we need to talk about what that is that facilitates that going forward over the next 5 years.
Steve, where do you see it going in the next 5 years?
One of the big things, I think, changing our portfolio of business buildings is going to be one. 2, we're moving more into the installs, custom install stuff that we're doing, and on the kitchen side we're growing massively on that at the moment, and that is something that's not easy to price online. We're doing more and more kitchens all the time now. Our average fit has gone up as well, so more of the showrooms maybe moved over to kitchen showrooms as well. There's only 4 of the 9 have got kitchen showrooms in them. But yeah, there is positives in the industry. I'm not all doom and gloom, believe it or not, but it does need a bit of a change. The manufacturers do need to see that we are losing money compared to what we were 10 years ago because of the costs that have come into it. And it's the margins aren't there like they used to be. We used to make good money on built-in. Now it seems that some manufacturers seem to think it's freestanding margins are okay on built-in. That's not right. And on brown goods, to sell a £4,000 telly making 10-point margin now is ridiculous. The money that's gone into it, and I don't mean just us, I mean the manufacturers want to make money as well. We all need to make it again. At the end of the day, the only winner at the moment is the consumer. None of us, whether it be manufacturers or retailers, are making enough money.
We're going to hear from the manufacturers later as well, so it'll be interesting to hear their side of the story as well. Conscious we've got a bit of time. We've got 5 minutes left before we have to go out and have a coffee break. So I thought I might use this for a Q&A session and open it up to the floor. My glamorous assistant Andy's going to be handing a microphone around. Is this switched on? Yeah. So if anyone's got any questions, but if you're going to give a question, please your name and where you're from, please. Thanks.
Thank you. Owen Waters from Roberts Radio. I just wondered if the panel, we've heard recommended retail price increases mentioned a few times this morning. I wondered if the panel agreed that this was a moment in time opportunity to try and retain some value in the market. So whether it's through existing products, whether it's through new launches. And Steve was very passionate about saying that there isn't enough margin being made by any stakeholder now. How do we try and ensure that these price increases, we don't give it away, that we actually use this to sort of prop up the whole value chain again?
Totally agree. Yeah. I haven't got a problem with price rises at any time. I prefer you all to put your prices up 20%.
Done.
I'd love it, because as long as every channel gets the same price increase, the market then has cash in it again, because it doesn't have it at the moment. And I know obviously manufacturers can't talk to each other, but as independents I'd love to see more value in a product, because it means it's worth what it's being sold for. I think giving a £4,000 telly away for 10% margin just devalues that product. And to all of us, that's not good. As an industry that we're in, we need to make money.
The trouble is we're losing control of our margin. Our margin is being organised by a web spider. I mean, it has to start somewhere, and obviously this proliferation of online price matching just means that they're all playing chicken, wondering who's going to go higher. And you saw a lot of price rises come through in November. They didn't materialise in the marketplace. The marketplace held on to lower prices for such a long time, and we as an industry are responsible for that. But how we can do anything about that, whether the manufacturers we can't really talk price anymore. So it's a very, very difficult thing to control, but we do all agree we need it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with price increases. Obviously there's a need to do it, but it has to be done first of all across the board. There has to be a level playing field from independents and nationals and all types of accounts. But certainly if it gives us more margin for us retailers and the manufacturers, there's certainly an opportunity to do it and certainly implement it. So I think it can be done. Let's do it.
We all want it. I think it's whether it's achievable and how it's achievable.
I think the biggest problem we have as an industry at the moment is this independent channel fights ourselves more than we fight the big boys. And I think that needs to be a whole change. We don't need to worry about what the little dealer down the road is doing from us. He's the one who can help us. If he starts doing business, we start doing business, we then challenge the big boys. If we fight each other and lose that share against each other, then all we're doing is making them easier for them. And I think John Lewis for too long have been held as a premium retailer when all that's happening with them is they're reducing their display commitments year on year in store for our products, but still put as a pedestal to look at as a retailer that we should all look to. And I don't think they're anything like we are. Nothing like it. But
I can't see any John Lewis that adds value that we do.
No, but they're still, we want to be in John Lewis because they offer this, this and this. They're a retailer online now, they're not a retailer in store.
Just on a slightly different note, Sean, I think what I'd like to see is manufacturers on both brown and white goods offer independents a slightly different route to the market. So we need to have a USP about ourselves. We don't want to be the same as John Lewis or Currys. We want to be different. And at times there's too many promotions that we're exactly the same as Currys or John Lewis, and we don't want to be the same. We want to be different, but that's partly down to the manufacturer, or give us the ability to create, which in most cases the more proactive dealers do, create a different type of approach to the marketplace. And we're not talking about price, we're talking about how do we go to the market with a different value-added proposition or something a little bit different.
Cool. Probably got time for probably one more question, or any more questions? Put your hand up. Roy?
Hi guys. Just from the point of view of is this the time when we actually try and define what independent retailing is, so that manufacturers can then align themselves to actually support that? Because there's been so many models in independent retailing, and the positive is that's what independent retailing is about. It's about individuals all coming up with their own ideas about how they're going to run their business. But from the point of view of a manufacturer, to try and align yourself to a situation that's a bit like herding cats, it's trying to find something that we can put ourselves behind and say, this is what you can expect from independent retailing. And there's almost like a brand that sits underneath it, a mantra that sits underneath it that says, this is what you can expect if you go to your local independent retailer.
Isn't that something that the manufacturers tell us what they want then?
Well, no, but I think the problem is that if it's manufacturers all saying what they want, then we're going to have very, very individualistic approaches to that. What we need is a very clear mandate for what independent retailers are going to be, and then we can get behind trying to gear ourselves up to underpin that. Both in marketing terms, when we go on our sites, when we say, go to your independent retailer, this is what you can expect. And I do think all of you, the great thing is you've got a great opportunity, because you're right. John Lewis can't do a lot of the stuff you do. Currys can't do a lot of the stuff you do. But I don't think we're doing a good job of marketing that. But I'm not sure we actually are very clear about what that is in today's world. And I think that would be good for us to be able to understand that.
What you mean is you want to set standards for electrical retailings. Electrical retailers.
And I don't think if each manufacturer actually tries to dictate that, it'll just be a mixture.
I mean, maybe a retro type thing where you see a certain level of dealer, they are capable of doing certain things for you. But you know how difficult it is, even on your own websites, to make it clear when you go to a dealer what standards he's got.
Exactly.
It's not an easy thing to do.
I think the problem you've got such an array of dealers. I mean, you've got every dealer in this room is different in some way. We all have our strengths and weaknesses. Having a set sort of guideline or some platform to work with, I think, would be a good start.
Yeah, I think it's almost like a generic standard. Then there are bits beyond that people do. But at least there's something for us to market. I think we want to market what independent retailing is about. But if I'm being really honest, I'm not sure if I go back to my business and say, this is what all independent retailers do, it would not be true.
What you're saying is when you go back to your list, you don't know what the quality is of what you're dealing with in the independent there.
It's very, very diverse.
Fair point.
Okay. I think we're running out of time. These smartphones may be killing the traditional camera market, but they're quite handy, aren't they, because I've got the time on them. So time's beating us, so it's 7 minutes past 12 now. So we're going to have a networking coffee break now. So I'm going to ask people to come back. We say about 15, about 15 minutes? 20 past. We're coming back to 20 past. So I'd like to thank the panel as well. So give a big hand for Jason Digwa, Gerald Giles and Scogings. Thanks, guys. And I'm sure we'll be debating some other stuff we've heard a bit later on this afternoon.